Episode of Progressively Becoming, Tuesday, July 30th. Yo, how crazy is it that we were just celebrating Happy New Year 2024, which we didn't spend together, by the way.
You didn't?
And I'm still pretty hurt by that. I think I'm more hurt by us not bringing in the New Year in together than she is. We talked about this at dinner the other night. By the way, shout out to her. Happy birthday, 31st birthday. If you guys didn't tune into the Place of Exchange service on Sunday, shout out to my wife, our director of engagement, 31 years old. You do realize that you're now closer to death than you are to birth?
You say that every year. Every year, and it's the same story.
I think you got to start to look at it that way. But how's it feel to be 31? Good?
The same way I felt when I was 30.
So we talked about this at dinner. We didn't bring in the New Year together, and I don't know. I just feel hurt by that.
Well, you're the one who wanted to leave.
No, I had to work very early the next day.
Priorities, right?
But we're about to be in the 8th month. It's crazy. So we're in the final, third of the year, which is wild. Anything that you have on your to-do list that you still have not even begun to think about accomplishing?
Losing this weight.
No, you're doing pretty good. We've been on the meal prepping, the factor meals. Shout out to them, Just Meats.
You want to sponsor us? Let us know.
Yeah, we've been on y'all heavy, and it's paying dividends. So, anything else? The books. How about the books?
Oh yes. How have you been doing with the books?
Maybe we'll talk about it.
Well, anyway, it's August. Oh, it's about to be August. Tomorrow's August. Which means we're still in the Strength to Love book. Then we have one more book after that.
Yeah, so make sure y'all get to it. As always, hit us up at Progressively Becoming Studios. That is on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. We're doing it. Make sure y'all check out morning devotions every Thursday morning. You've got the Sunday exchange on Sundays, PB. We're doing it twice a month, once a month between us two, and then our pastors are doing the second month. Can we start here? That fast, I didn't think was as hard as it was last time. And I think part of it is me being outside helps. Like if I'm home and I'm like having to make food for the kids and staring at all, and I'm not like, into snacks and, unhealthy food, but it's just a lot tougher because you're just hungrier when you're home.
Was this one shorter or long, or the same amount of time as the first one?
5 days. I think this might have been shorter. So that could also explain why it wasn't as tough.
I don't know. For some, I feel like
it was like the
5 days?
It was the second week of January, I believe.
If that first one in January
was treacherous,
I was ready to give up on day one. It was definitely tough. So, but this time around, I can agree. I think that it was a little bit easier. I actually went the route of just doing smoothies or green juices for the entire week, and I feel like it was hard, but not as hard as like you said the first time around. My issue with it, the hardest part of it, is giving up the sweets, especially with the kids around. Maverick, I feel like he was just taunting me. He was like, cookie, and I had to like hold the cookie for him, so it was like it's melting in my hand. I got chocolate, and I think like naturally as a parent, like when you're feeding a kid or whatever, like you scoop it, sometimes I gotta like blow it to make sure that it's not like too hot, and like I sometimes put my whole mouth on the spoon, like, and then like give it to him, and I realized, wait, this is some chicken here, or like I just wanted to lick off the little bit of chocolate on my hand. I didn't do it, but like I caught myself so many times. Like it's so easy to like slip up, especially when it's something that you like, cookies, ice cream,
and
certain snacks.
That's the toughest part for me. She made chicken thighs, which have become like just the thorn in my side because it's like one of the fattiest parts of chicken. We're trying to be healthier, and warming it up for the kids, smelling that aroma as it just permeates the living room. It's just too much sometimes. It's too much, but we got through.
But you're good about what your alternatives. That yes, but also like the options, the things that you chose to eat this week. Like I feel like you felt satisfied with your meals, whereas me, I'm like chugging this green juice just to get it down and have something in my system. Whereas with him, I feel like he was like going in and he had little spinach, his tofu. He would put like
heavy on the tofu,
eggs, and so like it was good choices you were making, but like I feel like you felt satisfied.
I did feel satisfied, but it gets tougher again at night when you just want that last meal to kind of set the tone for, all right, it's over.
Yeah.
And smelling the chicken, but the spinach, the tofu, the egg whites, alternating between egg whites and regular eggs. Yeah. That was definitely an added bonus. Like to making it easier, doing protein shakes.
Yeah.
So you just gotta find that, and I think what makes it easier. This is a little, lesson to all of you out there. What makes it easier is that the deviation isn't too significant. So when you're eating these types of foods throughout your everyday life, it's not gonna be as hard as you now incorporating it for the first time when you're not used to eating it consistently. So that stuff that we just talked about, I'm used to eating that. I now just have to subtract like the turkey sausage from it, the meat from it, which makes it tough, but it's not as tough as going cold turkey.
As opposed to someone who on the regular is eating fast food or like fried chicken every day, and then to go from not being able to eat that to now you have a completely different experience with food. You have to eat vegetables and fruits, and that's a big adjustment. So I think what would have helped was like it being things that you already eat on the regular and then just incorporating it that way.
Do got to give a shout out to Sandra Tony, Pastor Tony. She did a hell of a job. Christ Butler, you had Douglas, everyone brought it. Hubbard, he came through with the word. So all of the chosen speakers, the people that it was laid upon, Pastor Tony, both of our pastors laid upon their hearts to have you guys come forth with the word. We really do appreciate that encouragement, because look, we love Jamel, of course, we love Lakeisha, and they bring it every single Sunday, but there's something different during like revivals or fasting, where you get to have a different voice that you're not accustomed to hearing come in and pinch hit, and then all of a sudden it's all synergized, where the message is not the same, but at its core it's coming from a place that we all trust, because we love our spirituality. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. It was awesome to listen to them, and I did look forward to getting back to eating regular food.
No, yeah, I think we always do. What was your first meal?
Tacos. Tacos. Because I'm freshly off of a trip to Mexico.
Oh, yeah, he was on a vacation.
I don't know if you guys noticed this little beautiful
tan.
Nice little tan.
Got me looking pale next to you. Did you enjoy yourself?
I had a great time. We had some tacos, because obviously you got to get tacos in Mexico. But yeah, that was my first meal. Because off the flight, there was a Starbucks in the airport, and I was like, nah, I don't want like that to be my first, like, breaking the fast. Because I had like an egg and cheese sandwich,
right?
But I didn't want that to be the first meal, like sausage, egg and cheese, like breaking the fast. I wanted it to be something a little bit more.
Reward, like it felt good.
More rewarding, yeah. That's the perfect
indulgent,
word.
Yeah, you can indulgent, yeah.
So it was cool. Sure. It was cool. How about yours?
Yeah. So the meal that I chose was, I don't know if you guys know, but it's like it's called cachapa. It's like I guess it's Venezuelan. So it's like this sweet kind of. It's not a pastry. It's like cornmeal, what you say? Kind of like a cornmeal, but it's sweet, and then it had shredded chicken in it. It had cheese, like these sauces. It had lettuce, tomato. It had a whole bunch of things in there, and then I had like a side of
cheese sticks,
like these cheese sticks, not mozzarella sticks, but in a way it is. Oh my god, so good, with like a nice little passion fruit juice.
There we go.
I felt good. It was good.
All right, so let's get into the shenanigans today. The biggest story in the world the last couple of weeks has obviously been Sleepy Joe going to take a nap. He's like, yo, I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here. 4 years was enough. So he bowed out gracefully, and Kamala Harris steps in. So before we get to the Kamala part of it, I do want to, because I think sometimes what gets lost in all of the frenzy and the craziness is the fact that Joe Biden, like, that's kind of sad. Like,
I felt so bad.
I felt bad for him, because he's been in this game for 5 decades. So he spent majority of his life doing this, working up to a point where he wasn't able to secure a nomination after Obama bowed out of office, but he rose to power up in 2020 and finally got to fulfill that dream of his to become president. And say what you want about his politics, like whatever, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, I'm not even talking about it from that standpoint. I'm just saying, like, to get to that point where you achieve your goal, you feel like you're well accomplished, and because of old age you gotta bow out, like, that's a tough place to be in. So it was very sad. Again, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. It's just very sad to see someone get to that level with that cachet and have to let go for something that they didn't really control.
Yeah, the old age for sure plays. It was sad, but I think it's also sad because I know that he's, like you said, it's something that he's wanted to do. He finally got in position to do that, and the way that people were kind of coming at him after the first night that he and Trump went at each other, like, there was. First of all, Trump didn't do a great job, but because of how he presented himself, Biden, I'm speaking about, that just took over, and from then on, everybody was just questioning his ability to, like, his credibility, and it's sad. I'm sure he was, like, inundated with all these kinds of messages and stepped down. Like, that doesn't feel good. Like, no matter how old you are, no matter what position you're in, if you're in a role and you have so many people coming at you, no matter, like, that hurts.
It does.
And he's old, and I felt so bad. Like, people were violating him.
When people start to impugn your cognitive ability, knowing that for 50 years you have done something that it takes someone smart to be in that seat for that long, and people start to question if you're cognitively functional enough to continue, that hurts. Now with the, I don't even want to say advent, because we've had social media for a long time, but it's created such a buzz of people throwing memes out there, making fun of you, and not that he's sitting there going through his mentions, but the fact that it's out there, all these videos of you having slip-ups, it's just
and
sad.
People making jokes about it.
It's sad to see you go down like that, but I do respect the fact and some people are going to argue this, but I respect the fact that he decided this was bigger than him. Like, in his eyes, the other candidate poses a threat to our democracy, so he's like, yo, I gotta do what's right. These poll numbers ain't looking too good for me. People coming from my neck because of my old age. Let me pass the torch to someone who, on day one, I said was suitable enough to be my replacement if that came to it. And the reason why I said people are going to come after me is because there's a lot of speculation that he might have been forced out, which, like, who knows? So it might not have been his decision, but just under the premise of it being his decision, I think that's an honorable thing for you to do. Because we do see the other guy is made it all about himself. He can do this.
David Boy would not have stepped down.
He's the best at this. He's the best at that. You know, he's done more for us than every other. I mean, the superlative is he can't stop. He can't contain himself. Whereas you got Biden saying, "All right, it's time for me to hand it over." So now we bring in Kamala, or aptly known as Mamala. And my favorite part of what's happened with her throughout the last 4 years is people expose themselves. It's like, why haven't we heard from Kamala Harris? Where has she been? She was all, boisterous during the campaign trail leading up to 2020, but she got in office and she was quiet. She didn't do anything. My question is, when have we ever heard from vice presidents?
Yeah.
Like, how did we ever hear from Mike Pence?
No.
The only time we heard from Pence was when that boy had his life threatened because the former president had people going at him because he didn't want to overturn the election. No one from 2016 to 2020 was clamoring, we need to hear more from Mike Pence. When Biden was Obama's vice president, anybody was like, you know who we need to hear more from?
Right.
Joe Biden. That literally never happened. But when I was a kid, I remember Dick Cheney as Bush's VP never said, we need to hear more from him. That just became a thing with, as soon as a black woman went.
That's what it is.
It's funny how that works.
Because it was a black woman, people feel they have to have something to say. And that's what we were having that conversation in the car the other day, where it was like, this same conversation. Why weren't they saying anything when it was this white man in power or white man as a VP? But now that Kamala Harris is in that position, people have all these things to say about what she is and isn't doing. And it really boils down to the obvious, right? She's a woman and she's a woman of color.
Exactly.
People are going to always have something to say, always have some type of criticism, always have just negativity to spew, and it's just like, shut up.
When they can't really attack your credibility and the qualifications that you offer, they got to go down low and find something else to be mad about. So I just find it so fascinating and quite hilarious when people are like, she's been quiet. What has she done? All these damn Kamala Harris experts who all of a sudden just give you a full breakdown of her career. Oh, how many people she locked up.
Right.
I ain't hear none of y'all talking about Pence. J.D. Vance, he's got a checkered past. Don't hear a bunch of these people coming at Kamala for J.D. Vance and all the things he's been saying about women and childless women. So it's just, the standard is not the same standard for everyone, and that's what bothers me. Like, if we would have been consistent in saying we need to hear from the vice president, then I'd be like, all right, cool, you got a point. I'm not saying she's perfect. She certainly has some things that I disagree with that she's done and that she needs to be challenged on. No one is above reproach, but I mean, certain folks really just out of nowhere just became prosecution attorney experts just in the blink of an eye. I've never seen something like that before.
And they'll say things like she's done more harm towards the black community than Trump has done.
Yeah,
Trump's helped more.
Yeah, tell them to look at that Project 2025. Tell them to do their homework.
But that's the thing, that they don't look into what it is.
Bernie Sanders, he had a lot of supports among young people, right? People never brought up about Bernie Sanders, that crime bill that they held against both the Clintons, Bill and Hillary during her run in 2016. Bernie Sanders signed the crime bill. So we want to talk about putting people in jail. Again, everyone has their warts. Everyone has their pelts on the wall. When you've been in politics for as long as these old folks have, people aren't going to agree with everything that you've done. And it's not to say that that's an excuse. It's just to point out and highlight the fact that if you're going to be critical, then have it be consistent. That's all I ask. Just be consistent about your criticism.
I was just going to say, if we were moving on from that, just those of you who are going to be voting, and I'm hoping that it's all of you that are going to go out and vote, just be smart, look into things, don't just believe what you see or read or hear on social media. Do your own research and don't just jump on a bandwagon. If someone is just saying like, oh, like this person is not good because of this, do your research and make a decision that you feel is best for you.
Yeah,
not
don't
based on
just
somebody
hop
else.
on a social media bandwagon just because you see somebody post something and it looks cool, it's got a bunch of likes and retweets and high exposure, that means it's truth. Actually do a deep dive into it for yourself. I've found myself in a situation where I've been trying to educate myself on Kamala's history when it comes to, you know, being the Attorney General and like her climb from a prosecutor to the Attorney General, to a senator, to the VP, and now it looks like she's going to be... She actually technically hasn't been given a nomination yet.
She's raised so much money.
Yeah, she's raised a lot of money. So that's going to become more formalized at the DNC.
And I know that you mentioned something about...
Chicago.
Trump said he released a statement recently. Remember you sent it to me?
Oh, yo, he's scared.
You think?
Yo, Trump is scared. He is afraid. Because all of a sudden, his tune has changed. Where he wanted to debate Biden.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted all the smoke, anytime, anywhere. Wanted to debate Biden. Why? Because he knew that even though Trump himself isn't a good talker, he can't talk about policy. Like no one who is voting for him knows anything about his policies, because he doesn't eloquently articulate that. He doesn't have any.
Oh, this is a statement that he released.
So when it comes to debating Biden, we pay less attention to what Trump is saying because we're so zeroed in on Biden not being able to put together full sentences without stuttering and sounding crazy. Whereas Kamala,
she's articulate.
She's articulate, and you know it's the prosecutor against the convict, the felon. So she's going to be able to drill him.
Oh, yeah.
She knows how to talk.
Oh, yeah.
She's not going to let him get away. Like how many times, and it's easier doing it from our seat. How many times we watched the debate and was like,
oh,
what you should have done was this, what your comeback could have been this. Like,
yeah.
We feel like we would have been able to have a rebuttal, drill him on certain things, so that people could see it. That's obviously tougher when, you know, where they end up being like 20 million people. I think the number was watched the debate.
I mean, but secondly, they didn't have an audience.
Yeah, but I mean, knowing that,
I know, but then you've been in that situation, position for quite some time.
Yeah, which is why
you get used to speaking in front of people. Like you don't.
Which is why she'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
But you have the...
so the little campaign statement that Trump released on July 25th. He goes, given the continued political chaos surrounding crooked Joe Biden and the Democrat Party, general election debate details cannot be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee. There is a strong sense by many in the Democrat Party, namely Barack Hussein Obama, that Kamala Harris is a Marxist fraud who cannot beat President Trump, and they are still holding out for someone better. Therefore, it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris because Democrats very well could still change their minds.
Yeah, and by the way, the very next day, both Michelle and Barack Obama formally endorsed Kamala Harris. So
there was a video that she put up, and they were on a phone conversation, and she was like, "Hey, it's so nice to speak to you." It's just so funny because it's just like slap in the face, you look down.
Yeah, that just goes to show you. Look, I always feel like I gotta preface it, not just because of the church, but you know, because of what I do for a living. I don't want to be out here
getting canceled.
Not about getting canceled, but making people feel like I'm sending them in one direction.
Yeah.
Or
No, for sure, we would never
vote for who you want to vote for. But that man is scared. You hear it in that statement, because if Joe Biden was still he is still in office, but if Joe Biden was still the nominee, you would not have gotten that statement, and you can hear it. He's on Fox News, and one of the reasons that he gave as far as like why he's considering not debating her, he's like, people already know everything about me. They already know everything. There's nothing more to learn. It's like, bruh, nah, we want to see y'all go toe to toe. As a diehard sports fan, I want to see the best against the Republican Party. This is the best you have to offer. Democrat Party, this is the best you have to offer.
Let's go.
Let's see y'all go head to head.
Right.
Let's go. You've been talking crazy for 4 years, so let's finally get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely gonna be something. I think it's like 97 days now until the election, which feels like an eternity, but it's gonna fly by.
It's gonna fly by.
And Kamala looks like she's gonna pick her VP in the next couple weeks.
We shall see.
If you get a chance to check out Paris 2024 Olympics.
The opening
ceremony.
I did. I wasn't into it. I don't watch the Olympics. But I was hearing about it. Actually, I was on Instagram, and I see some people had reposted, and it was a picture of like the Last Supper, and then like a picture of whatever happened during the opening ceremony. I didn't pay too much attention to it because I was just like, oh, whatever. I just kind of scrolled by. But it's becoming more and more like news. So go ahead and give them a little bit of the gist of what's going on with that.
Okay, so I want to say this was Friday night. The opening ceremony, the commencement ceremony, every time the Olympics rolls around, it's like this big giant party celebration. We had people performing. Celine Dion was out there. I didn't hear her performance, but I heard she was fantastic. You had the lighting of the cauldron, LeBron carrying the American flag. So a whole lot.
Snoop Dogg was supposedly there, right?
Yes,
was like
Snoop was there.
The mascot or something.
But it's definitely something that caused controversy because a lot of people felt like they were mocking the Last Supper, but we have since learned through statements of those in charge, putting this together, that's not what they were trying to do. So you saw a bunch of like drag queens, and just for me it was a little jarring. I was like, well, I didn't expect this, but if you guys haven't gotten a chance to see it, go check it out. I think the video has actually been pulled from YouTube, so you can only see like pictures of it. Or short clips of it, but they had the drag queens and people living out their truth, and a lot of the Christian and Catholic believers felt like this was an attack on the religion, on the spirituality, and mocking. So they say,
we want to know your thoughts too, though. So go ahead and put it in the comments now, so we can see what you guys thought of that. If you saw, if you didn't, go ahead and look it up and give us your opinion.
So the Paris 2024 spokesperson did issue an apology. She said, clearly there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. On the contrary, I think with Thomas Jolly, we really did try to celebrate community tolerance. Looking at the result of the polls that we shared, we believe that this ambition was achieved. If people have taken offense, we are of course really sorry. So basically what they're saying is there's this fight for the LGBTQ community in France, and they were using their platform to try to show that this is an acceptable way of life, because they're trying to get closer to gaining acceptance from the mass audience, and this was their opportunity to do that. So they in no way tried to offend or mock the Last Supper. This was just visual artistry, and I think, look, if that's what they want to do, they have a right to do that. Like, I can't say that.
Do you think that it was a mockery? Do you think that it was offensive? Do you think that because they're saying like there was never an intention to do this, but there were so many people in different countries and different beliefs, not necessarily just a Christian belief. They thought it was disgraceful. They thought it was offensive. They had these things to say. Like, there were so many people who went out and spoke about it, people in power in religious communities, and they themselves in a way took offense to it. So is it hard to see why people would have been offended by it? Because they're saying it's clearly we didn't mean to do that.
They also apologize, and if that is the case, that we apologize for making it seem that way. So I mean, look, I'm not gonna sit here and say this spokesperson, I know her from
she was
from
sincere,
a hole in the wall,
right?
but so like I can't speak to her sincerity or not. But what I can say is, honestly, if I'm taking her at her word that this was not a mockery of the Last Supper, because we're Christians here, and that is foul, right? Like, disrespecting any religion. I would say that about Muslims. I would say that about Buddhism. I would say that about any religion that we deem to be something that people partake in. You don't want to disrespect anyone's faith. I think that's out of line. You may not agree with their beliefs, but just out of respect for what they believe, you can have that. So if she's saying that this wasn't their intention, then I don't know that I have a leg to stand on to say, yeah, this was. Because I don't know who you are.
I think there's also other factors that play a role in it, because had it been, and I know that there was a huge emphasis on it being LGBTQ, that community, and the imagery that they presented. Now, if, let's just say, it wasn't any affiliation with LGBTQ, would people have still taken it as a mockery if they still did all this imagery? Again, not with any drag queens, not with anyone, you know, affiliated with that community. Just straight up, would they be offended if it's somehow portrayed the Last Supper?
Well,
do you think because it was that community, because of the drag queens, and because of...
So you're saying that it's tied to people already having like a built-in hatred for that movement?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a hatred. I think
like
there's clearly a separation between, you know, Christianity and what...
It's polarizing for a lot of people. So I just want to, real quick, because I wanted to mention this. So this was considered like a Dionysus festival. The artistic director, Thomas Jolly, who I referenced earlier, has insisted that this scene is not a reference to the Last Supper. Rather, the performance is a nod to a pagan celebration featuring Dionysus, the Greek god of fertility, wine, and revelry. So...
they were comparing it to Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, the drawing, but then there was another one by someone who did a similar one. It was like a feast of something. I don't have the specifics, but I know it was feast. It was more related to that. He claimed.
Yeah, he's saying it's about the pagan celebration featuring Dionysus, which is the Greek god of fertility, wine, and revelry. So, if this is some thought out attack on Christian beliefs, then they did their research. They did their due diligence as far as like having an immediate cover up for it. If not, then like I know a lot of people are offended. I think one of my biggest takeaways from this is the grift that's happening, and it's actually what annoys me more than anything. So I want to preface it by saying I am not in any position to say how sanctified you are or like where you are in your spirituality, good Christian versus bad. I don't subscribe to that at all. But I can't help but to think that there are a lot of people who just hop on the bandwagon when it serves as convenience, and it happens in politics. It's like all of a sudden you're this devout Christian, but no, it's because you're trying to win over a strong presence, like the evangelistic presence when it comes to voting. You're trying to win over these Christian and Catholic voters. So you're going to sit here and act like you staying with them just for your own political gain. So that's why, like, my brain, right, all these people speaking out, like Trump did the same thing. This would never have happened on my watch. I mean, first of all, you got nothing to do with what they're doing in France. Like, you have no say in that. So for you to sit here and act like you would, like, that's just foolishness.
And he didn't really offer much of anything. All he really said was it was a disgrace. And they're asking questions like it was just, disgusting.
People use Christianity for their political gain, and it's why I get so angry when, like, the church, like, we try to use it as a moral compass when it comes to allegiance to parties. I just never subscribe to it. But if you guys were offended, list your reasons below as to why you felt that way. We did provide some context as far as like what they said their reasoning was, but if that's not good enough for you, then let us know. Any final thoughts on this?
I'm good on that.
Good?
I'm good.
Alright, we want to get to a little bit of a lighter topic, because we did mention that I came back from vacation. Mexico, nice, very nice. Exhausting because you're doing a lot of activities. So I think I know the answer for you.
What's the question?
The question that I pose to you in the audience is your preferred vacation. I can't even speak. Your preferred vacation method. Is it activities being done consistently, or just a full-out week-long relaxation? We don't got to do too much.
What's my answer?
Which I think yours is the latter.
Yeah.
So I want to know how you feel about both, like the former too, because yours is the latter for sure.
Yeah. I like to relax. I feel like life is just so busy. I'm definitely somebody who, if I go on vacation, I'm trying to chill. Like, don't be like, and a little mix of other activities. Like, if we're on a 5-day trip, 1 or 2 of the days we can do a little excursion. But like, I'm not trying to be doing the most every single day. Like, I want to be at the pool, I want to be at the beach, I want to lay down, I want to get tan. I'm not trying to climb a waterfall. Like, every day of the week. I'm not trying to do jet skiing. Yo, speaking of which, jet skiing, not the vibe.
Oh yeah,
No.
we did that. When did we do that in Mexico?
We did jet skiing. We did parasailing. Both of those are scary. I don't even know why I agreed to that because
parasailing. I'm scared of heights. I don't understand why I would even.
And into deep waters.
Then you could see. You didn't see like sharks or anything, but you definitely saw.
No, that's scary.
Little fish in there.
I would not do that now. That was only a couple years ago, but anything deep water related, it's gonna be a no for me. Anything like that. So yeah, I'm definitely somebody who wants to relax. I like ATVs.
I think I like the
excursions.
As I've gotten older, because if you would ask me like when I was younger, what would I prefer? I would probably say like, yeah, let's just swim up pool, let's just chill at the resort the whole time. But as I'm getting older, I feel like I need to explore more. And what opened me up to this actually was our honeymoon when we went to Tulum, and we got to learn about like what civilization was like in Tulum, and I think that's cool. I like to be intellectually stimulated.
But that's different from what we were from like. That's different from like doing. I'm saying activities. You mean
that's an activity?
I know, but I think of it more like exhausting in the sense of like physically straining.
No, but that stuff is exhausting when you spend like an entire day like doing tours. If you visit Paris or Greece and you're doing a lot of walking as you're visiting cities and getting like the full rundown on, you know, everything that happened, like that is exhausting. And
like
that's
zip lining.
Yeah, that's an exact activity, not just excursions. Okay. I meant like actually exploring, learning about culture. Because if you go to like Africa, like what type of excursions you get into? Now you going there to learn about civilization, culture. Like there's gonna be a lot of walking around and you know,
I think it depends on the type of vacation, like where the location you're going to. That plays a role in like what you're trying to do on that vacation. Because if I'm going to Africa, obviously I'm not trying to stay in a resort. Like I want to learn about the culture and like do certain activities like the sitting with the lions or something like that, and like taking pictures and learning about those kinds of things. But if I'm going to like
Jerusalem, how about like, you know, going to Jerusalem?
Similar, you're doing lots of tours and visiting and
so you're on my side.
I'm on that side. I thought you were talking about like if I'm going to DR or something like that. Like, I'm staying on the resort. Thank you.
I'm talking about more mature.
Okay, yeah. When it comes, so again, I think it depends on the location and the vibe that you're going into. If I'm going to Jerusalem, I'm obviously not looking for a resort to turn up. Like that's not what's happening. It's a different experience. But I think it depends on the location and the vibe. But for the most part, I'm a chill type of person.
What's chilling for you?
Chilling for me?
Mm-hmm.
What's chilling, guys? Chilling is just like relaxed vibes, not doing too much, being safe, that kind of thing.
Yeah, she's safe. Cool. There, you know, she doesn't like to leave the resorts.
Cause I'm a scaredy cat.
She doesn't like to leave resorts. She's like, nah, we gotta stay on the resort. We can't.
Do you guys leave the resorts when you go on vacation? If you go on vacation,
if you go on with a group of people, that's fine. Like,
no,
we did that when we went to DR when we were celebrating our engagement.
We did not leave the we left the little thing, but we were still it was still on the same.
We took a bus to go. Where did we hike? What did we do?
With the guy Miguel.
Yeah, we went hiking.
Yeah, that wasn't all that great of an experience.
No, I had fun. They gave us food. We were in the water. Like that
was like, oh my god, I want to go back.
Speaking of water, can you pass me my water? That was fun for me.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm going to a different country, I want to stay on the resort.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
I actually, you know what we got to do next time? I want to do something, and this is like transitioning out of that conversation. People stop coming to church because blank. So we can do like a thought exercise. If we're trying to grow the church, we're trying to make church cool again. We're trying to make church a place people want to be.
Mm-hmm. And
you know, the sanctuary is fun, right? Like the living room, having the Zoom, having the YouTube is great. You can have church anywhere. I fully endorse that. But there's something different. I've always told you about actually being in person in the service. There's a different vibe, a different energy that you're just not going to get in your living room. So I would love to do an exploration of, because we're of the younger generation that has seen numbers massively drop as far as like not attending church anymore. So for us to do a deep dive into that, like what would make church more appealing for people? What does it have to do? So maybe that's something we could talk about next time, because we always like to drop hints of like what would be a fun conversation going forward.
Right.
But that does it for us tonight. That was fun.
That was fun.
Look at you, political aficionado.
Oh please, I would never claim to be.
Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, Progressive Legal Comic Studios. What we got going? We got Tuesday PB twice a month.
Yeah, so actually next Tuesday you can catch our pastors back here. Well, not here, but in their little fancy studio with another episode. This Thursday we have I can't even speak either. You gave it to me. Morning devotions at 6 a.m. Send your prayer requests. And then, of course, on Sunday we'll be back with the exchange at 10 a.m. Oh, also, if you guys didn't watch or you weren't in church with us last Sunday, shame, just kidding. But I did announce that we're going to be having a back to school drive because kids are going back to school in September. We're really about to be in August. Anyway, we put together a registry with school supplies for the children of Camden, and so we want to ask you if you are interested in contributing in any way. We will have all of that information on our social media with the registry link so that you guys can go ahead and purchase, or you can just send any type of contribution that you guys feel led to give and you want to help us out that day. The day is going to be August 24th, so we're really looking forward to that. It's a Saturday. Mark your calendars and be there. And if you have any questions, you guys can hit us up and we'll get back to you. So that's pretty much all we have for today. Hope that you guys have an amazing week. Happy August, starting tomorrow, right? No.
Yeah, starting tomorrow.
No, tomorrow's 31st.
Yeah, starting Thursday.
Thursday.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next month. Holla.
Bye.